Near the shores of old Lake Erie stands our alma mater true. Fredonia state we proudly honor, with its colors white and blue.
Hello, and welcome to the latest edition of Reflections of Fredonia. My name is Jack Croxton, and I am an emeritus faculty at the college at Fredonia. I taught in the psychology department for over 40 years. What we're trying to do in this podcast is interview Fredonia alumni to let them talk a little bit about what they've been doing since they graduated, and then maybe even to reflect back a little bit on what it was like when they were a student here. We're recording from right here in Fredonia at the Fredonia Radio Systems, Fredonia's student-run radio station.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chloe Kowalik. I initially graduated from Fredonia in May 2024, but I am coming back for my Master's of Science in Clinical Mental Health Counseling.
For today's podcast, we have a very special guest. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself by telling us your name and when you graduated from Fredonia.
My name is Tom Rasley, and I graduated from Fredonia in 1973, which is a few weeks ago.
That's right. And well, then I'm just a spring chicken. I started in 1979.
Uh-huh.
So we didn't cross paths.
Mm-hmm.
When you were here at Fredonia, what did you study?
Well, I was a music major and a vocal major within that discipline, and I quickly discovered that a singing career was not going to happen for me. So when I got out and out into the world, I kind of fell back on my ability to play and understand the guitar, and started teaching guitar privately.
When did you first take up the guitar?
Well, I started that in 1964, but I spent a lot of time finger picking and strumming and not doing a whole lot. And then all of a sudden I discovered, I had a very large music background, and so I was able to kind of teach myself to play some classical tunes, and that started me off playing instrumental music on the guitar. And so it was gave me a little bit broader view, and my theory courses in high school and at Onondaga Community College, and all the theory courses that I took at Fredonia too, all informed my guitar playing.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
It's been a while, but do you remember any professors or any class that you took here?
Well, there's a few that stick out in my memory. One in particular, I was very, very lucky to study composition for one semester with Dr. Walter Hartley, who is just an absolute genius. I love this guy. He in one class, he made the announcement that if you're going to be a composer, you have to pick a first note. And if you're going to be a really good composer, you will pick a second note, and it will be the right note. And I was sitting in his class with 2 or 3 pieces of music already published, and I was thinking to myself, of course it would be the right note. I chose it. But that's not what he meant. And so it took me about 10 years to figure out that, the second note's going to be the right note because it leads to the third note.
Oh,
And
I
so
see.
about 10 years later, I met Dr. Hartley. I was out on the campus, and I met Dr. Hartley and in the hallway, and I said, hey, here's the deal. You said this, and it took me all this time to figure it out. And his response was classic. He said, well, that's funny. It took me 10 years to figure it out when my teacher told me.
Oh.
So I said, well, I guess that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's just one that sticks out. As far as classes go, there were a lot of other really, really interesting things that happened while I was there. I got into the chamber singers. I was a transfer in my junior year, and what I was told was transfers never get into the chamber singers, but myself and another guy who transferred from OCC, we both got in because of our training there. We just had the the capabilities to be in that group. And during that time, we got to sing the Stravinsky Mass at Saratoga Performing Arts Center with the chamber singers, and that was a thrill.
Oh, great. What was it like on campus back in the 70s?
Smaller. Well, I kind of missed the Fredonia nightlife and didn't spend a lot of time on the campus after hours because I was a married student and there was no married student housing on the campus, so I was living off campus and a newlywed. So of course the entire back end of Mason Hall wasn't there. They were contemplating building it, and I think they had actually started on it at that time, 73. But we weren't allowed to go back there. They hadn't really gotten a building back there yet. So Mason was just the what you see on the front end on the quad.
Sure.
Yeah. What made you want to come over to Fredonia? What really put it on the map for you?
Well, I had in mind going. Well, I started out my college career as a drama student at OCC, and that went okay. But I decided, music is my stronger suit, so I transferred to the music department there. But before I did that, I had my dad bring me out to Fredonia for an audition. And basically what they told me was, okay, we could bring you in because your theory knowledge is so strong, but you really need a little bit more work on your voice. So why don't you complete the OCC, degree, and then we'll let you come in. And it was basically I had a free ticket when I wanted it. Huh. Sure enough, came 2 years later, and I came in as a transfer, which was great. I mean, it would have been fun to be there the whole 4 years, but I got so much out of the 2 years while I was there. I made it work for me.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. So before we really dive into your career, tell us a little bit about how you first got interested in music.
Oh, my dad was a tremendously consummate musician. He was a Juilliard graduate in the 40s, and he was a composer, conductor, concert-level pianist, singer, operatic singer. Did a lot of musicals. He wrote music. There was very little that he didn't do. So I grew up with this all around me. My mom was a singer, and they would sing show tunes and operatic duets. They would just start them, at the dinner table. And so we're just surrounded by music. And my dad was always interested in various kinds of music. He would bring home operas or symphonies or the Kingston Trio or, it didn't matter. If it was interesting, he brought it home and we listened to it.
Wow,
that's cool.
You have quite the musical background.
Yeah. Well, I'd say I didn't have any choice, but my brother, who was very musical, became a geologist, and my sister, who was very musical, is a librarian. So and I went on to study music. So, yeah, we were seriously surrounded by it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
it was an interesting way to grow up.
For sure. Well, your career as a professional musician has included teaching, performing, and we noticed that you helped a friend start a record company, and that you performed Christmas VIP tours at the White House. We got to ask you what that was all about.
Yeah.
Well, when I got out of Fredonia, I actually taught public school for a year, and quickly discovered that was a very bad mix. And so that's when I fell back on my guitar. And there's an old saying in teaching that you will be taught by your students. And everybody who walked in the door wanted to know something different. So I just decided, okay, I'm going to go and learn whatever it is they want to learn. And I very quickly learned, a lot more than I thought. But I was able to do that. I'm serious about this. I was able to do that because of the training that I got at OCC and Fredonia. It just taught me kind of a way of thinking about it, that yes, I can do this. So the White House was kind of an interesting development. A friend of mine and myself had developed a record company. We were doing instrumental music, and one of the first things we did was a Christmas album And for some reason, I got this in my head that we could get ourselves into the White House because one of our albums had been given to the Clintons back in '98, or no, I'm sorry, '94, and as a gift from a bookstore that they were visiting the town, and the bookstore got a chance to hand them a gift basket. They put our CD in with it.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, well, if we can get a CD in, why can't we get us in? And my partner, seriously, my partner thought I was crazy. But 4 years later, I got a phone call, and they said, can you come down in middle of December and play Christmas music? And I said, yeah, we're already in the car. And so that happened. And I during that 4 years, I called them and I sent them other music, and I sent them, whatever I could. I kept in touch with them, and somebody from their music committee, and this is back when they had a music committee, got kind of latched onto our music, and he's the guy who invited us, and we actually met him when we were there.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of neat. But we got a chance to play a 45-minute set in the East Foyer, which is where they usually put the Christmas tree inside, and then we went up to the East Room, which is where they traditionally hold all the concerts. I don't know if they do that now because we don't have a ballroom yet, but that's another whole story.
That's right.
But this was the place. This was the place where every big name artist had done their indoor concerts.
Yeah.
And to be standing there and in this historic room, it was overwhelming. It really was. So 2 years later, or I guess it was 4 years later, I decided, well, maybe I can go back as a soloist. And I got a hold of him, and I got an immediate invite back.
Wow.
So, yeah,
That's
so that
awesome.
was nice. Yeah.
Were you able to bump into any politicians or any?
No. Well, this was the VIP tours are for the staffers around town to come in and look at the decorations, and then we were just there as entertainment as they passed through the East Room.
Oh, okay.
That's so cool.
So nobody important was there. We didn't meet the first family. They were there, but it was like the night before they were supposed to take off for the Middle East or something like that. So we didn't get a chance to see them.
Yeah.
Now, did you put it on the wall, scribble like Tom was here?
No, but I got some nice photographs out of it. There was a gal who was kind of ushering us around, and I handed her my camera at the time. You didn't do it with phones in 1998, but I said, could you just snap about 3 dozen pictures for me? And so she, we came up with some photographs, and they gave us a nice little kind of name plaque there to say that we were there, and so just paper. But yeah, it was pretty neat. It was very 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 exciting.
Oh, that's fun.
But in between those two times, this is the same partner of mine, and I did an 8-day tour with the Syracuse Symphony Pops Orchestra, again playing Christmas music that we had recorded, and they were using my charts.
Oh, okay.
And orchestration is one of those things that I didn't really take until I got to Fredonia. So I was really really happy that I could use that information, and so many things that I did just kind of work their way out of the courses that I took at Fredonia.
Right.
Definitely.
So now you started a record company. Did you just kind of decide let's form our own record company? Or
Well,
how did that happen?
My friend Scott Adams, who lives down in the Finger Lakes, approached me one day. He said, "You know an awful lot of instrumental Christmas carols. Do you want to record a Christmas album? Because I've got some recording equipment, and I can't do that, but you can." So I said, "Oh, sure." And so we ended up both recording some stuff, and because he's a fairly decent guitar player, and so we did a lot of just duets, and that's what the album was that got us in to the White House and a few other places. But then we started working on other albums that had more orchestration to it, and from there. Somewhere around 2008, I got some programs on my computer where I could record at home, and total the stuff that I did with Scott and the stuff that I did on my own, I've released somewhere in the vicinity of 80 albums.
Wow.
And yeah, it sounds like a lot, I guess. My catalog.
Yeah.
A friend of mine said you ought to have a catalog, just a listing of all the stuff you've ever written. I said, why? And he said, oh, just because it's interesting. So I did it, and I'm now crowding in on 1,450 titles in that catalog.
Gee.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's, I often wonder what Dr. Hartley would say about that if he was still around.
Well.
He was pretty prolific too.
But
one of those albums won a Sammy Award. That's the Syracuse Area Music Awards in 2023. I was nominated for another album in 2025, and I didn't win. And I just found out last week that I'm nominated for another album this year.
Wow,
Oh,
congratulations.
yeah.
I'll find out about that in about 3 weeks, so we'll find out.
Cool.
Well, I would say you somehow gotten beyond that third note.
I did. A couple of times.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, sorry, go
writing
ahead.
writing is just sort of, it seemed very natural to me. And again, I was raised by a composer, and I watched him sit at the piano and work out a tune, work out harmonies, and just create music. And I've always gone back to that and said, there's a pattern to this. And some of the other things that I picked up from Dr. Hartley, and just in that one semester, it was an amazing semester. It was just able to put, and I understood finally that inspiration is just everywhere, and that seems like an obvious statement, but not everybody pays attention, and if you start looking around, you say, oh, yeah, okay, that could lead to something. It could give you an idea, even the shape of something, or just, something moving. There's rhythm. And so, I draw my inspiration from absolutely everything. But one thing, I found out there was a next step to it. You have to not only look around because the inspiration is there, you have to expect it. And that's a step that not everybody gets to.
Right.
And I just look around. I expect to be inspired. So when somebody says, "Well, where do you write? How do you write so many songs?" Well, I just come up with an idea. I say, "Okay, I'm going to run with it."
Right. Well.
Yeah.
So, in 2 minutes or less, how has your music evolved over the years?
I can do it in less. Constantly.
Okay.
It never has stopped really evolving. I always try and come up with some kind of concept that if I pick up my guitar, I say, okay, what key haven't I played in a while? What style haven't I written a song in a while? And I say, okay, I'm going to do that. Or I'll see something or hear something, and I'll say, okay, that's going to be in country style or jazz or folk or rock or classical or whatever, and it just all of a sudden I'm hearing it.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I'd say if there's one word that could describe you, I think it would be prolific.
That would be a very high compliment. Yeah. Oh boy.
Well, we also saw that you mentioned that Fredonia's College Guitar Ensemble has performed some of your pieces as well. Was that like a full circle moment, or how did that feel?
Well, when I was there was no guitar department, and throughout the run of things, I got to know Jim Pierkowski pretty well, and he was very impressed with some of the quartets that I had written, and he performed them with the ensemble. And 2 years ago, I was able to drive out and listen to them play a 4-movement suite of songs of mine. And they've done I think 5 or 6 different pieces of mine.
That's so cool.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know Jim. He's a good guy. Very accomplished.
And he's really working his retirement. I mean, he's still doing some amazing things, and he's not only a great player, he's a great composer too.
For sure.
Yeah. So he's been an inspiration, and he tells me for some reason he tells me I've been an inspiration to him. Not sure I believe that, but
Well, that's
you know,
high praise.
kind of, yeah, it is. Mutual admiration, I guess. So.
Yeah. Well, do you feel that your time at Fredonia helped to shape your career path and where you are today? I think you've sort of hit on that already, but
well, it wasn't even so much the classes; it was the people that I ran into. I had even in OCC, but in Fredonia, I had the most amazing instructors, and because of my musical background, I was kind of ready for just about anything that these guys were going to offer me, and I tried to take advantage of everything. But it's the way that they went about their own musical activity and life, and to watch them, see how serious they were, see how much fun they could make it. The faculty at both schools were just so inspiring. And Dr. Scheel, who was the choir director at that time, just an amazing musician, and he was just so focused. Dr. Hartley, another one. I was able to take vocal lessons from Peter Zellmer. He was only there 1 year, and I was lucky to rendezvous with him. But he was just so full of joy in his music, and people like that that's what inspired me, even more than the classes.
Mm-hmm. Well, you had some good role models, that's for sure.
I really did.
Yeah. What advice would you offer for current Fredonia students?
Say that again?
What advice would you offer current Fredonia students?
The best two words I can think of is pay attention. Pay attention to everything. Soak up every bit of knowledge that you can. You take advantage of every opportunity that's presented. And as in my case, if you're not sure precisely what's going to happen after you graduate, try to piece together some kind of path that's built on your strengths, and you'll discover those if you pay attention. To the music students, I would say practice, but I won't. Because what I always told my guitar students is that the only thing that practice makes perfect is practicing. And nobody is ever going to ask you to practice a song for them. So my philosophy has always been play or sing, but even in the so-called practice room, learn to think of it as a performance for a very small audience.
I like that.
Well,
I think that's that's pretty much sums it up.
Well, my music career was cut short in high school when I tried out for the high school chorus, and only 2 people didn't make the cut, and I was one of them.
Oh dear! Did somebody tell you were a blackbird?
That's right. Yeah. Well, that was the end of my musical career.
I'm sorry to hear that. Oh boy.
Oh. Well, I think that about wraps things up for our interview today. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Well, except for as someone goes through a college career, it really helps to pay attention and just to soak up everything, because you never know really what is going to make a difference when you get out into the world. Mm-hmm. It's so different. You get out of the academic community, and all of a sudden the world doesn't think that way, so you're immediately adapting. But all that information, all those people that you run into will help you focus, and that's what it comes down to, is you need to kind of just be yourself and not worry about what the world expects you to do.
Sounds like a good philosophy to me.
Okay. It's worked for me for 55 years.
There you go.
Yep.
Oh. Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast today. It was a lot of fun talking to you.
Well, it was great to be here, and thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
So, I am Dr. Croxton.
And I'm Chloe Kwolek, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Its glory and its praises, let them ring.